India is a land of entrepreneurs, a land of new thoughts, new ideas, and new generation leaders driving the wheels of progress. Let's now hear from one such dynamic young leader, Karan Adani, Chief Executive Officer Adani Ports and SEZ, in conversation with Mr. Manish Tiwary about the role of young leaders in the next phase of India's growth.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us here today at Amazon Smbhav 2022. I am Manish Tiwary, and I lead a team of supercharged Amazonians who are focused on transforming the way India buys and sells. I am very excited today to speak to an important guest we have, someone who represents a young, dynamic India that values innovation and embraces disruption and is confidently ambitious. In a predominantly young economy, it's fair to say that such young, new generation leaders are and will remain pivotal as India charts a new phase in its growth journey. These are the ones who will make Pragati Smbhav. On that note, please allow me to welcome the dynamic Karan Adani. Karan is the Chief Executive Officer of Adani Ports and SEZs, the USD 25 billion logistics business of the diversified Adani portfolio. Karan is an economics graduate from Purdue, and he joined Adani Ports and SEZs in 2009 to gain expertise in core operations at Mundra Port, the flagship port of Adani Ports and SEZs in Gujarat. He aims to augment the company's identity around an integrated business model that includes port operations, logistics, and SEZ development, a combination that is rapidly transforming the company into a leading end-to-end logistics solutions provider. Thank you very much, Karan, for joining us today. It feels really good and great to be able to chat with one of India's finest next-generation leaders. So let me jump right in with my first question, Karan. The Adani Group is a fine example of Indian entrepreneurship playing a key role in important sectors like infrastructure. So the expectations from you as the next generation leader, they're very high. I'm sure you know that. So how do you cope up with the pressure of taking forward such a successful legacy?
So, Manish, the way you're right that the expectation is quite high, but I think the expectation is high on how do we do things better, how do we do it faster, how do we do it in a very much different way than what has been done in the past, and that is what keeps us at night and charges up to make sure that we live up to that expectation. And I think we embrace disruptive model, and we always challenge that disruptive model. So the pressure is quite high, but one of the big things that we've learned is and this is for all the leaders in Adani Group, is that keep your feet on the ground. Don't worry about the challenge. I think try to make the challenges in a simple form. Simplify it as much as possible, and just focus on getting those deliveries and execution. I think once we get there, whether we fail or whether we succeed, that's not important. I think the idea is that we keep trying, we keep pushing, and we keep testing the boundary of what we need to achieve.
That's really inspiring. I like the focus you have behind execution and not getting too worried about the output or the results. Thanks for that, Karan. Karan, my next question to you is a little more personal. How does the dynamics work between you and your father, Mr. Gautam Adani? As in, who listens to whom? And how do you lean on each other for ideation as well as decision making?
So I think I must say that we have a very open communication between me and my father. I think I must appreciate my dad on this front, because he's very curious. He's actually more curious than all of us in terms of understanding how the world is moving towards, what young minds are thinking, how are they thinking, why are they thinking what they are thinking. And I think we have that environment of push and pull. We have the ability to push back and to say, this is not the right way of thinking, or maybe we should think about this way. And I think the way it works is a very constructive dialogue. I think end of the day, we thrash it out on the table, and then whatever is the decision, end of the day is whatever is the final decision taken by him. We go and implement then. But I think what is important is that he gives us the opportunity, and this is across the group. He gives us the opportunity to openly discuss, to openly, if we don't agree with him, allow us that freedom to disagree, to give our point of view, and and also to challenge our point of view. I think a lot of times he questions that, questions why are we thinking this way, and a lot of times he agrees with what we say. Sometimes we agree with what he says, but end of the day, then we just go with the final decision, and then we go into implementation. Most important is that once we leave, once we leave the room, we don't go back and we don't go back and say, I don't agree with this. This was not the right decision. I'm not going to implement that. That's at least that much. The way that's the way we work.
I must tell you this, Karan, this resonates with, we have a set of leadership principles in Amazon, and one of them is disagree and commit, which is exactly what you're saying. Debate is healthy, but after that, go and focus on the execution. Awesome. So just following up on that one, Karan, what is the one or maybe two pieces of advice from Mr. Gautam Adani that has really helped shape you and your outlook as a business leader?
So I'll say three things which has really helped me. And the first one is he always encourages us to, he always tells us that you need to be on the ground. You need to have pulse of the ground level situation. And that means that you should know what your truck driver is going through, what your operator is going through, what your customer is going through on the ground level. You don't need to, when you talk to your customer, you don't need to talk to the CEO, but you talk to the manager on the ground of the customer who goes through the pains day in and day out. And that helps you actually to think through better solutions and to improve your service delivery. So one, he says that always be on the ground and sense opportunity from the ground, and that's where you get a lot of new insights, new opportunities, as well as new solutions. Second, he says that make everything, when you're approaching a problem, keep it very simple. We have the tendency of becoming to, bringing in a lot of jargons and making it complicated. He says, try to make things simple. Go directly to what the root of the problem is, or root of what you're trying to solve. So keep things simple and approach that, rather than getting diverted with too many jargons and too many complexities. And the third thing he says, which he has told us, is that, and which we take it every day, is that whenever you do something, think of scale. Don't do something which you can't achieve scale, which you can't, because if you are not at scale, you can't influence. If you can't influence, you can't make things better. You will always be a follower of somebody else. So, whatever we do, you have to do at scale. You have to think of scale either at state level, national level, or at a global level. But it has to be at scale which allows you to influence the way things are being done, influence the way policies are being made, influence the way how how you can change the game of the of the industry. So I think these are the big three drivers, that fundamentals that he said to us, and that's what I take it with me every day and try to work on that. It's not easy on everyday basis, but that's the principles we live by.
Wow, no, I love that. Stay close to the ground, invent and simplify, and think of scale. And no better group than Adani when it comes to scale. So awesome, Karan. This was really, really, I'm sure our viewers would learn a lot from that. Changing tracks a little bit. So Karan, as you know, we love technology at Amazon. And One of your recent statements was that the logistics sector wasn't an early adopter of technology, and that such tech-based interventions or disruptions can actually make logistics zero cost, and this is a phrase you used. Can you elaborate on that a little more? Do you think India is sitting at the cusp of revolutionizing logistics by tech interventions?
So, Manish, the way I look at it, and I'll just take a little bit of deviation over here, and and I'll come to my point.
Sure.
When in 90s and 80s, when everybody used to have a camera, right? And you used to pay for the roll, for the film of the camera. And one is that you used to pay for the hardcore hardware, and then there was that software which was the roll. And for every roll you had to pay, and you used to get that 30 clicks you could get. And then and at that point of time, if somebody told you that, or told anybody that roll, what Kodak used to make, and that used to be their big
right.
big money spinner for them. If that is going to be zero cost, at that point of time in 80s or 70s, I mean 90s, when somebody said that, somebody would think you're crazy. But I think that's what digital camera did, right? When the digital camera came in, and today with the phones, what we are. I mean, you fast forward 30 years, today with phones, you don't know how many pictures you take. At that point of time, you used to think about 30 pictures. Each picture is going to cost me 10 rupees or 20 rupees, and now people take thousands of pictures, and it really doesn't matter. It's absolutely free. And I think that's what what I personally feel logistics is going to be in 20-30 years. And the way I look at it is, think about logistics in terms of what is the biggest cost for us as a logistics player. One is the fuel cost, right? So fuel cost, when you eliminate, with which is happening with electric vehicles coming in, you are eliminating your fuel cost. And electric vehicle charging with solar panels or with wind, you're not paying, you don't have to pay for sunlight. So you are actually eliminating your fuel cost. Then the next level of disruption will happen is through autonomous vehicle, because after fuel, your second biggest cost is your cost of driver and your maintenance which comes with it. So once you bring in autonomous vehicles, or that technology, autonomous technology, you are eliminating your driver cost. And with these two costs coming in, then the focus, I mean, where world will move towards is that you just keep using your vehicle or your hardware as much as you want. With the increase in the utilization of your hardware, basically you're apportionating, and you will reach, ultimately you will reach at a stage, this is what I feel, that we'll reach at a stage that the cost of the hardware is going to be negligible when you apportion it on a very large on a large volume. So when you think about it today, if, like, say for example, in your, just taking example of Amazon today, if you guys are doing 1 million parcel deliveries a day, and think about it, that from the same fleet, if you can do 10 or 20 million parcel deliveries, and without removing the drivers, removing the fuel cost or the diesel or the petrol that you guys pay, and it's just 100% electric, and you remove, because you are removing the human intervention, you are actually making it really efficient, the cost is going to be as good as zero. And the next third level, where actually I feel where it will happen is, why I feel it will go towards zero is because somebody will come and say, I want to monetize on this data, and I don't want to charge for the data. I want the data. I don't want to charge, so that people don't are scared of using the data. And I think that's where telecom had moved. And I'm pretty sure that it's just a matter of time. I don't know whether it's going to be 10 years or 20 years, but I do feel that this is going to be, you will reach at a stage where people will just say that, you want to move your good from one place to another. Here, take my car or take my truck, and I'll do it for you for free.
Wow. Wow. This is really inspiring, Karan. As you said, we ship out millions of packages, and things like fuel inflation are so important right now. But what you just laid out is very, very inspiring, and the fact that you use the same hardware, the new technologies. So just staying on the technology point, Karan, with the advancement of digital technologies, what's one of the things which has happened is that big cities and metros are no longer the focal point or the epicenters of growth and innovation. Yeah, we are also seeing an accelerated shift from physical work to knowledge work. How are you viewing these trends? What role do you see the smaller tier 2 and tier 3 cities playing in powering India's economic progress?
So, Manish, the way I see it, and especially I would say COVID, I think two things which has happened with COVID. One is access to knowledge. Same knowledge. Let me put it this way: access to the same knowledge. Or when I say knowledge, I include teachers as well. Whether you are, in Nagpur or Pune or Bombay, the kids are getting the same access, and which has basically, removed that. I would say the divide which was there between tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 city when it comes to access to knowledge. And this has happened purely because of COVID and work from home, and everybody having to rework their business model. And I think what I personally feel is that the power of India is actually in rural India and the tier 2 or tier 3 cities. And I think the kind of ambition, the kind of thinking, and the kind of solution orientation, and the kind of firepower, I would say the fire in the belly, if I may, the entrepreneurship that you will find in these kids and in this in these cities, it's unbelievable. And I think if I may, to power your MSMEs, to power your SMEs, I don't think you can do it in tier 1 cities, and that power is only going to come from here. And I do believe that end of the day, for India to grow, your large part of your growth has to come from MSMEs and SMEs. If they are not becoming more powerful, if they are not growing, India cannot grow. And I think that whole divide, what has happened is that with the technology, the access to information, the access to markets, the access to knowledge has completely been removed. I mean, everybody's can whether it's a farmer or whether it's a young entrepreneur or whether it's an MSME, those things have been removed. I think what is very important as a country to move towards, to be able to harness that, is how do we improve our infrastructure on the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And when I say infrastructure, I don't mean physical infrastructure, I also mean technology infrastructure. So how do we make sure that each house, each village has fast internet available. Each one are connected with 4G network or even 5G. To make sure that there is proper storage of whatever they're doing. Physical storage, to make sure that there is enough logistics movement happening. So I think that is, I think if you ask me, that is the next stage of focus that the country needs to do, to make sure that we tap into that firepower that the country inherently has. And that's my view. And that's where groups like us, companies like us, corporates like you guys, also we need to focus more. We need to give more opportunity over there, but we need to focus more over there. And once those markets are developed, I'm sure the flow of goods, the flow of opportunity will happen.
No, you're right, Karan. I think it's truly inspiring. I like the phrase, the firepower in tier 2 and tier 3. A lot of us have encountered the hunger in the belly to do better. I completely agree with that. So Karan, before I let you go, I have to ask you this question on behalf of so many young leaders and entrepreneurs of the next generation who are out there. What would be your advice to them as this set of entrepreneurs will play a very, very important and key role in shaping the future of India?
So my advice, I think India is at a great, I would say, tipping point of the next growth, and I think that growth is going to be exponential. I think the opportunity that the country will provide, I think nowhere else in the world these kind of opportunities will be there. My simple advice, I'm not big in giving advice, but my only limited advice I would give to my fellow colleagues as well as entrepreneurs would be, I think we need to do better than what our earlier generation did. I don't think so. We should shy away from accepting or adopting new ways of working, new ways of technology, or as one of the big things which is going on globally is on climate change. So adopting new clean energy, because I do believe that end of the day, the next $1 trillion companies are going to come from people who are going to ride the wave of climate change and technology change. And either you can be with it or be against it. I think if you're against it, there's only so far we can go. But if you're going to be with it, I think India is at the cusp of creating those $1 trillion economies. I mean, $1 trillion companies, if I may. And the way it's funny you asked me, but the way I look at it is there's a full karma happening. Earlier in people used to call India as Sone ki chidiya, right? It used to be controlling 1/4 of world's GDP, and I think we are getting there again. I don't see. I personally feel in my lifetime we will see that India going back to that golden age where we would be controlling 1/4 of global's economy. And I think entrepreneurs as well as young people, unless they are not part of it and they're not part of that mission, India cannot reach there. And I think we just need to believe in India. We need to believe we have to believe that we can reach there. And with younger talent, I'm sure we will reach there.
This is truly inspiring, Karan. And it's been a wonderful session, Karan, talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us and inspiring thousands of young professionals who watched you here at Amazon Smbhav 2022. Thank you. I would also like to thank our viewers for joining us today for this session. Stay tuned. Lots more coming your way, and have a great day.